A night of silence, a storm of truth. What really happened to Wang Yibo, and why Xiao Zhan couldn't hold back the tears. The headlines came like thunder in the middle of a calm night, sudden, electrifying, and impossible to ignore. Whispers had been circulating for days, quiet murmurs among fans and insiders, but no one was prepared for the weight of what would follow. When the doctor finally spoke, the room fell into a silence so heavy it seemed to swallow the air itself. For fans of Wang Yibo, the news felt surreal. Known for his unshakable composure, disciplined lifestyle, and almost superhuman endurance, he had long been seen as someone who could withstand anything. But beneath the spotlight, behind the relentless schedules and dazzling performances, something had been quietly unfolding, something far more serious than anyone had imagined. This is not just a story of illness, it is a story of pressure, of friendship, of vulnerability hidden behind perfection, and of a moment that left even Xiao Zhan visibly shaken. It started subtly. A missed rehearsal here, a delayed appearance there. At first, it was easy to dismiss. After all, the life of an entertainer is chaotic by nature. But those closest to Wang Yibo began to notice something different. Not just fatigue, but a deeper exhaustion, the kind that sleep could not fix. On set, he remained professional, as always. Cameras rolled and he delivered. But between takes, there were moments, brief, almost imperceptible, where his energy seemed to fade. A distant gaze, a pause that lingered just a second too long. Crew members exchanged glances, but said little. In an industry that thrives on resilience, concern is often swallowed in silence, until it couldn't be ignored anymore. The turning point came during what was supposed to be an ordinary day of filming. The set was alive with activity, lights blazing, directors calling instructions, assistants moving with precision. Wang Yibo stepped into position, ready as always. But as the scene began, something shifted. Mid-performance, he faltered. It wasn't dramatic, there was no immediate chaos, just a sudden stillness, as though his body had quietly refused to continue. Within seconds, the set transformed from a place of creation to one of urgency. He was rushed off, surrounded by concerned staff, whispers rising into panicked voices. And then, nothing. No official statement, no immediate explanation, just silence. Days later, behind closed doors, the truth began to emerge. The meeting was private, attended only by a handful of people, management, medical professionals, and a few individuals whose connection went beyond contracts and schedules. Among them was Xiao Zhan. When the doctor began to speak, every word seemed to carry a weight that pressed down on the room. This was not simple exhaustion, not something that could be fixed with a few days of rest. The condition, as described, was more serious than expected, the result of prolonged physical and mental strain, compounded over time. The kind of strain that builds quietly, hidden behind success, until it demands to be acknowledged. For a moment, no one spoke. Because sometimes the truth is too heavy for immediate reaction. Those who know Xiao Zhan often describe him as composed, thoughtful, and deeply empathetic. But what happened next was something few had ever witnessed. As the implications of the diagnosis became clear, the emotional barrier he had always maintained seemed to break. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he looked down, his expression tightening as if trying to hold something back. But emotions have a way of finding their way through, especially when they are tied to someone who matters deeply. Tears followed, not dramatic, not attention-seeking, but quiet and genuine, the kind that speaks louder than words ever could. It was a moment that revealed something rarely seen in the public eye. The depth of connection, the reality of concern, and the human side of lives often viewed through the lens of perfection. To understand how things reached this point, one must look beyond the incident itself and into the world that shaped it. The entertainment industry is relentless. Schedules stretch across continents and time zones. Sleep becomes optional. Expectations rise with every success. And for someone like Wang Yibo, who excels not just in acting, but in music, dance, and professional-level motorsports, the demands are multiplied. Perfection is not just encouraged, it is expected. Every performance must surpass the last. Every appearance must maintain an image that leaves no room for weakness. But the human body does not operate on expectations. It operates on limits. And when those limits are pushed too far for too long, the consequences are inevitable. When the news began to reach the public, fragmented, unofficial, but impossible to contain, the reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Social media platforms were flooded with messages. Concern turned into trending topics. Fans from around the world expressed shock, disbelief, and an outpouring of support that transcended language and borders. Some revisited past performances, searching for signs they might have missed. Others shared messages of encouragement, hoping their voices would somehow reach him. In moments like these, the distance between celebrity and audience seems to shrink, because at its core, this was not just about a star, it was about a person. Despite the growing attention, official updates remained limited, and that silence only deepened the sense of uncertainty. Was he recovering? Was the condition stabilizing? What would this mean for his future? Questions lingered, unanswered. But for those closest to him, the focus had shifted away from public perception. It was no longer about schedules, appearances, or expectations. It was about recovery. What happened to Wang Yibo has sparked a broader conversation, one that extends far beyond a single individual. What does success truly mean? Is it the ability to endure endless pressure without breaking, or is it knowing when to step back, to prioritize health over achievement? In an industry where taking a break can feel like falling behind, the idea of rest is often seen as a luxury rather than a necessity. But moments like these challenge that perspective. They remind us that even the strongest individuals have limits, and that recognizing those limits is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. Amid all the uncertainty, one thing remains clear: the bond between Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan. While much of their relationship has been shaped by shared experiences in the public eye, what unfolded behind closed doors revealed something deeper: concern that could not be hidden, emotion that could not be controlled, and a connection that goes beyond professional collaboration. It is in moments of vulnerability that the true nature of relationships is revealed, and this was one of those moments. As of now, the future remains uncertain. Recovery is rarely a straight path. It requires time, patience, and often difficult choices. There may be delays, there may be changes, there may be moments where expectations must be redefined. But if there is one thing that has become evident, it is this: health can no longer be secondary. Not for Wang Yibo, not for anyone navigating a life of constant pressure. Yet beyond the immediate concern lies a quieter, more profound question. What happens when the spotlight dims even briefly for someone who has lived so long within it? For someone like Wang Yibo, whose identity has been closely tied to performance, stepping back is not just a physical pause, but an emotional reckoning. The absence of constant motion can feel unfamiliar, even unsettling. The routines that once defined each day, rehearsals, shoots, travel, appearances, suddenly give way to stillness. And in that stillness, there is reflection. Moments that were once rushed now stretch into quiet hours. Thoughts long pushed aside begin to surface. Questions about balance, purpose, and sustainability take on a new urgency. It is in these moments that true recovery begins, not just of the body, but of the mind. Those closest to him have reportedly shifted their approach as well. Where at once the focus may have been on maintaining momentum, it is now on preservation of health, of energy, of longevity. It is a subtle but significant change, one that could redefine not only his future, but also the expectations placed upon him. For Xiao Zhan, the experience has left its own imprint. Witnessing someone you care about confront such a moment has a way of altering perspective. It brings clarity to what truly matters and exposes the fragility that often hides beneath strength. Perhaps that's why his reaction resonated so deeply. It was not just about the situation at hand, but about everything it represented. The risks, the sacrifices, the unseen costs of a life lived at full speed. In the end, this story is still unfolding. There will be updates.